Good morning, everyone. Happy Monday and happy live stream day. We have got a wonderful live stream planned for you today. Super excited about it. We've got Clayton from Monterey here, actually in person in our very own backyard. And he's going to be here on our live stream in person today. So it's a real treat to have him here. I learned so much already this morning just from wandering around the garden. So I'll tell you a little bit more about that in a future CaliKim Uncut episode. But we also have some great giveaways today for Monterey products, for some of the CaliKim community personalized products. So you definitely don't want to leave this live stream early. So what I want you to do is drop a 1 in the chat if you're having any disease issues right now. Just put the number 1 in the chat. If you're not, you can put number 2 in the chat. You're the lucky ones, because I think a lot of us at this time of the year are having issues with disease. It's pretty typical towards the midsummer or end of the summer. So we're going to soak up all of Clayton's great knowledge today, and he's going to be sharing it with you here in just a moment. So in the meantime, let's say hello to those of you that are here. It's great to be back again after being off for 2 weeks. Now that we're streaming for every second and fourth Mondays of the month, we really look forward to these Monday live streams. Jerry's there in the control room. Jerry, I think you're a lot cooler inside. We're steaming out here in about 95-ish degree weather.
Yeah, this is one of those days that I'm glad I'm on the inside in a control booth and you have the outside job.
We always like to be here outdoors, though, to bring our garden friends out in the garden with us. So Jerry's got me covered with umbrellas. Yep. But great to see a lot of you here. Keystone Garden Mama, Myra, great to see you here, Myra. And Catherine, the artist, always good to see you. Irene O'Cal, V. And I'd love to know if you are as hot as V is in Texas. V's dropping a 1 in the chat, which means she's having some disease issues as well. So get your questions ready for all those. And Clayton's going to help us answer as many as we can, as well as Jennifer from the Monterey team here in the chat also. Yep. Okay. Jerry, did you have anything you wanted to throw in here before we get going?
Yeah, I sure did. I just wanted to let you know that we all are very excited to have Clayton here today. And we do this because we want to share with you the access to a person like Clayton so you can get your questions answered from the very knowledgeable, professionals, and just give you that. So if you have an aching question going on in your garden right now, we want to give you that opportunity to get right to the source. And it's a great thing that Monterey does, is that you can also, do that via email to Clayton here, who we're going to bring out. But that's why we do that, because we want you to learn. We want to educate you. And we always learn, too, every time we have Clayton over here. So I will tell you that we did film a little bit of a video here, very uncut style, with Clayton and Kim going around in the backyard and stuff. So it's going to be a really good, there's a lot of knowledge in it, but it's not a pretty looking video. It's, we're moving around and it's ad hoc, that type of thing. So we wanted to give that to you as well. So please enjoy the time with Clayton. Make sure you get your questions into him. We're going to do our best to flag them and get to them all today. That's enough of me. I'm going to get out of the way and let the show get on here.
Okay. Thank you so much, Jerry. And also thank all of you for being here. If it's your first time here, make sure you let us know your name, where you're gardening from, and what you like to grow the best in your garden. And a little side note here too, we were having a few sound issues before the live stream, so hopefully they're all resolved. If you hear a dog barking, we're actually dog sitting our daughter's dog, and we had to put her up in the office because she likes to bark. So if you hear a yipping in the background, just ignore it. That's what's going on there. So sorry for that distraction. But I think we're going to bring Clayton on. So Clayton, if you want to come on over, and a lot of you know and love him from the chat. Yeah, exactly. We're under umbrellas here. And Clayton, so great to have you on here today. I'm so happy that you're here. It's been wonderful. We just spent about an hour and a half in the hot sun walking around the garden. So thank you for putting up with our heat. I know you're not used to that, being that you live in the mountains.
I do. But everything's just so beautiful, blooming, and
thank you.
No, it's wonderful.
Thank you. Well, like I said, a lot of you know and love Clayton from the chat. I know he's been able to help a lot of us, along with the Monterey team, grow our vegetables, solve problems that we might be having. And today we're really going to focus on some disease problems. Right. But before we get into that, Clayton, just tell us a little bit about, what you do at Monterey and maybe a little bit of your background.
So my background is I started off in horticulture in high school, but then eventually I went to Cal Poly for about 5 years and had degrees in plant science, minors in pathology and field botany. So,
Sounds pretty interesting.
well, it
Yeah.
is. So, but it's really a good time. Where I live at, whenever any of the schools, they start getting into plants or anything, they call me up, hey, can you come down and teach the kids?
Great.
And I love doing that. It's one of the best things I do is talking to the kids.
Very rewarding, I'm sure. So tell me what you do at Monterey.
So I am one of the two key account manager, and I'm also the horticulturist for them. So big part of my job lately is answering questions across the United States.
Wonderful.
So people will send me pictures of what is this thing, what is that, what's the issue, and we solve it the best we can. In fact, I think we're one of the only companies that does this, because the other ones, they just leave us a number, we'll call you back, sort of thing.
It's wonderful to have that personal touch. And I know you've helped us solve a lot of problems in our garden, saved our passion fruit tree.
Yeah.
And for those of you that see our magnolia tree in the background, it's having some issues as well, big issues.
We're working on it.
So hopefully we'll be able to solve that one as well. We're going to do
Right.
the best we can to save it.
Right.
So thank you so much for that.
Yeah, passion fruits are wonderful.
Yes, and it came back completely from almost dying about a year ago. So Clayton, without further ado, we're going to get into some disease issues. Now, typically, I know in my garden, I see diseases come in about this time of the year, and it's so frustrating because you've grown your plants, you're harvesting them now, and then you go, oh my gosh, what in the world is going on here with my plants? So what are some typical diseases that come in, here in the summertime especially?
And we talked about this as far as diseases, insects, and weeds and
Yes.
stuff like that. Diseases are the hardest thing to figure out what's going on. It could happen below ground. We got 5 major root rots. It could be soft diseases, which you and I talked about. So powdery, mildew, downy, and rust. Then you have the hard diseases.
Those are more difficult, right?
So we can kill the organisms that causes those, but we still see the spots, which is why I call them a hard disease.
Okay. That's a good distinction to make. Could you explain to our viewers here, what is the difference between, say, a hard disease and a soft disease?
Sure.
Because that was very enlightening for me when you first told me about that.
Right. And nobody's even written about this. So it's written in the paper. So your soft diseases would be like powdery mildew, downy, and even rust. And rust, as we mentioned, or talked about, are very strange.
Yes.
So normally you see those on the bottom of the leaf. And when you're seeing the rust, you're actually seeing the flower of the fungus. The rest of it's just right inside the epidermis. But with a soft disease, we can use the right products like the complete disease or gun frost, and we can stop it from spreading.
Because it's soft. And why is it called soft?
Because the way it sits on the leaf
Okay.
it's not embedded. It's more on top of it. Like, for instance, sooty mold, which doesn't attack the plant directly, it attacks it indirectly. So it stops the light from going in, but lives off the sap of the aphid group.
And I believe that was what you found, or I showed you on my
Yes.
fig tree. I have one leaf with sooty mold.
Sooty mold.
And we kind of rubbed it a little bit, and you could kind of
Yeah.
see the spore or whatever it's called, like rubbing off a little bit.
Right, because
So
it's
it's just
not
on the
attacking
surface.
it. Right, they're
Okay.
living off the sap or the sugar secretions
Okay.
of the aphids and whiteflies.
So we've got our soft diseases, which powdery mildew
Yeah.
is such an issue this time of the year.
And those are easy to control, which is why I call them a soft one. So the main method of
Oh, come on,
is
closer.
the main method
Okay, there we go.
of trying to control them is to stop or kill the spores and stuff like that.
Okay.
But you can use a complete disease in the evening, and we talked about doing that in the evening. And by morning, that would be whole again.
Okay, so complete disease, for those of you that don't have this is really like,
Do you want to pronounce the active?
no, I do not. There's an active ingredient on here, which Clayton was telling me about it. But go ahead and say it.
Bacillus amyophorus liquidfacius strain D747.
Okay, now that's a real scientist. I couldn't even try and pronounce that. It's right, the very first ingredient on here. But this is super, super
Yes.
helpful. It's something you definitely want to have in your garden tool shed. Stay tuned. We are going to be doing a giveaway for this in just a moment. So tell me a little bit more
Sure.
about how, because I know powdery mildew and probably downy mildew is one of the things us gardeners probably struggle with the most at this time of the year.
And it's easy to control.
And tell us about how to do that.
Yeah, so
a lot of people don't know how.
Yeah,
I don't.
on powdery
I didn't.
mildew, the spores will land, it'll get through the epidermis and stays there. It likes more humid places. So
Okay.
I used to have a greenhouse on my property, and I was out of town down in Texas, and my boys were at home. They said, "Yeah, there's this white stuff growing all over your plants," and I knew exactly what it is. I was prepared ahead of time.
Oh, good.
So I had a bottle of insecticides, and I had a bottle of this. Spray it on in the morning, it's gone.
So it's totally curative for
Right.
powdery mildew.
It is a curative.
That's amazing, because I know a lot of us panic and we'll maybe trim all the leaves off.
Yeah, don't.
Maybe, and then we have bare plants. So
Correct.
Spraying this on will really help
Right.
control and cure
Plus,
the powdery mildew.
we can use this around the root zone to stop
Okay.
future root rots.
Okay.
It can't kill the root rot, but we're creating a mantle around the
Wow,
roots.
interesting.
And it gives off what's called leptoprotein that keeps everybody away, but it feeds off the sugars from the plant.
That's
as it's
amazing.
secreted.
Well, we're going to get to heart disease in
Yes.
just a moment, but I know we've got some questions over
Sure.
here. And by the way, if you do have questions, I'm sure there's a lot out there. Make sure you type that in the chat. And Jerry sets the questions aside for me so we can easily pull them up and answer them here on the live stream. And what a privilege to have Clayton here. Usually you have to type them all in, right?
As fast as
Jennifer's
I can.
in there typing away now.
Hi, Jennifer.
But we have lots and lots of, usually have lots of questions about diseases. So let's see what we have today here so far. We have one from Nisha out in Colorado.
Yes.
Nisha, our moderator. And Nisha, I've actually had this problem this week as well. Tomato hornworms got 3 recently and some dropping. I believe these are eggs. How to deal with it so they don't hatch? Good question. It's when they like to come in right now, right? They're a big problem.
You can't kill the eggs.
Okay.
So we need them to come out, but we use either the BT or Spinosad. Either one will work. Spinosad is a particle of a bacteria.
And that would be the garden insect spray with
Right.
Spinosad. Okay.
So it seeps inside the leaf. So any chewing insects, such as caterpillars and stuff like that, they'll eat it and they stop feeding and they die.
Okay.
Whereas BT, Bacillus thuringiensis, they pick it in the bacteria and again, they die. I do get calls from people, especially tomato plants, saying, I still see the hornworms. And I get it a lot. And I said, okay, are they eating anymore? And they said, no. I said, what are you calling me for? It worked.
So it just like disrupts their
Right.
nervous system.
No, the BT is for the digestive
Oh, okay. Okay.
system.
Great.
Yeah.
Wonderful. And I think,
Spinosad nerve.
like when we were walking around today, I saw droppings too, Nisha, and some of the leaves were stripped. And that's exactly what Clayton recommended to
Yeah.
use the BT or the garden insect spray.
And I like to switch them out about every now and then.
Okay.
The other issue that came up one time is some lady tried to use this on their butterfly garden.
Oh.
Guess what happened?
Yeah.
No more butterflies.
That's not something you don't
So-
want to do.
So
No.
you need to ask. I ask more questions because I want to get down to the nitty gritty and what is really going on. The more
Yes.
I get an answer, the better I can help them.
Now that brings up a good point. Monterey has a great system for getting questions answered. So tell us a little bit more. If people do have issues like this, how can they get their question answered from
They
you
can send it to
directly?
the office. The office sends it to me. I do sometimes get calls at 5 a.m. from the East Coast. My wife asks me, do you have to answer that? And my response is, do you want to eat tonight?
That's a good one.
So
I do have, I think I forgot to put it in this video description, but I believe the email is questions@monterey.com. But I will definitely put it in the video description after we finish doing the live stream. So Jennifer or Nisha, if you have that handy, if you could pop that in. And what a lot of our viewers have done, it's a great resource that Monterey provides, is actually take a picture, a really nice
Yeah.
close-up picture of the leaf itself, correct?
yeah, I'd rather have pictures so I
Okay.
can see what's going on. And then if I need to ask more questions, I'll call you up and ask more questions
Wonderful.
because I want to get down to it.
Okay.
So,
I know you've helped, like Jan's on here. You've helped Jan in
Right.
Hawaii, helped us deal with issues just by sending you photos. So if you're having issues and you don't know what to do and we haven't answered on the live stream, get an email out to Monterey and they'll be happy to help you with
yeah, I have a
with your
small
issues.
lab at home. So
Wonderful. That's awesome. And let's see, I think I had a question here. I saw one from Trish. Here we are. After treating with powdery mildew, is it safe to eat the various harvests? And by the way, hi Trish. We actually met Trish a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
We had a meetup in San Diego, so it's great to see you on the live stream again. Now that I actually know what you look like, so tell us about that.
okay, so it depends on how much powdery mildew. If it's covering the whole leaf, that leaf is going to die.
Right.
So, but we stop it from sporulation to get to the other leaves. If it's a couple spots on leaves, there's no issue. Spray it and you'll be good to go.
Okay. And is it okay to eat the vegetables that come like from the
yeah, it
squash
has nothing
plant?
to do with it.
Yeah, is it like the day of harvest? You can still
Right.
be spraying.
Right.
So not an issue to
Yeah.
eat those vegetables.
It's pretty
at all.
benign as far as active go. It has a caution label, which is the least toxic of them all.
And I love this because it's a concentrate.
Yes.
And there is the ready to use spray itself, but you really get the most bang for your
1
buck.
teaspoon per gallon.
It lasts you for a long
Right.
time, quite a long time. So, I think without further ado, before we get to the heart diseases, let's go ahead and do a giveaway, which is always a fun part of the live streams, for a bottle of the concentrate of the complete disease control. So go ahead and put hashtag summer in the chat, you all that are watching here, and we're going to do a drawing in just a moment, but this is a wonderful thing that you can use throughout the season when you see the diseases. Right. But as people are putting that hashtag summer in the chat, tell us too about the root drench that you can do like at the beginning of the season to really help prevent some of these issues from coming up.
As nutrients are taken up through the phloem tissue on the root system, there's the epidermal, all that I won't get into. It moves up into the leaves, and then the leaves do their magic. They photosynthesize, they make the simple sugars, which goes down through the xylem tissue and distributed out as energy. But there is no cork at the bottom of the root.
Ah, okay.
So some of those sugars are going to be released into the soil. That's what the bacteria feeds off of.
Okay.
It gives off what's called leptoprotein that keeps everybody else away.
Wonderful.
Now you can use it on your lawns, you can use it in pots, you can use it on your plants, but I would do it a couple, 3-4 times a year just to energize that bacteria.
Okay. So say when I'm planting my tomatoes
Mhm.
at the beginning of the season, or for example, I just planted a couple of these tiny Tims, brand new.
Yeah, just drench
I can
it.
just drench it.
Yeah, 1
and
teaspoon.
then, wow, that's so simple.
Yeah.
And then if it comes up during the season, I could
Apply it again.
apply it again or spray it
Yes.
and then drench the roots.
The leaves and roots have nothing to do with each other.
Okay.
Well,
Wonderful.
sort of.
Wow. Yeah.
Basically.
Okay, so we've got 27 entries, wonderful, for our complete disease control here. So let's go ahead and draw. Jerry, if you want to go ahead and draw. And lucky winner, U.S. residents only, please. Email me your contact information, your name, your full email address, and also what you won, because we are having several giveaways today, and we will get that out to you. Rita Gibson, that's awesome. We know Rita too. She's down in the San Diego area. We actually just saw her at our meetup as well. So Rita, super happy for you. You're going to love using this in your garden. I know you grow a lot in containers.
Perfect.
So it's going to be great for your container
especially
garden
for the
as well.
roots and everything in the containers.
That's great. So congratulations, Rita, on that one. Okay, now we've covered the soft diseases.
Mm-hmm.
Powdery mildew, downy
Now the
mildew,
hard
the
disease.
rust.
Yeah.
Now the hard diseases, I know you brought a few pictures as well, which a lot of us, let me know in the chat too, if you are seeing any diseases on your tomato plants right now. I know I am as well, and Clayton was so kind to help me identify some of them today. So drop a number 1 in the chat if you're seeing tomato diseases on your plants. So tell us a little bit more about the hard diseases.
Sure. The reason I call them a heart disease, and like I said, nobody wrote about that before, is because the organism that causes the spots and everything, we can kill that organism, but the effects of the disease is still there.
Okay, makes sense.
Which is why, whereas in the soft diseases, those leaves will come back whole. In this case, you'll just see some of the spots.
You want to hold up
Sure.
maybe something that's kind of common.
Well, one that's common.
Clayton
really,
has an amazing book with photographs in it, which he's offered to send me
Yeah, I'll send you
the
a whole
PDF,
copy.
which is amazing. What's something in your book here that's been showing up a lot this year?
Septoria.
Okay, let's see if we can get.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, here. So it's this one here.
Right. This whole page.
Okay,
I put different pictures.
Is
in.
anybody seeing any of these? Oops, I'm sorry. Is anybody seeing any of these in your garden right now? I don't know if you can see those up close. So tell me about.
Right. So what I look
this
for is how the disease is formed. I look for halo effects. This one doesn't happen to have it. I look for what plants they are attacking. Those
Okay.
are the real big one. So here I can spray this leaf and it will come back beautiful, except we will have still the effects of the disease.
Okay. So would I remove the affected leaves?
Not necessarily.
No?
If we spray it with,
really?
like garden phosphorus
Okay.
like that, we kill the spores.
So what's actually on the leaf?
Correct.
Okay.
But things like this one, I'll show you one more. Yep, Alternaria. You see the yellow halo around
You guys
it.
see that? Hopefully, I think you can.
Yeah, so I look for the halo effect, how they're formed and stuff like that. And that takes me to where the organism is.
Okay.
So
now these, can you actually make them go away on the leaf itself or just
No.
on future leaves?
Just on future
Okay,
leaves.
so the one previously,
same thing.
okay,
That's why I call it a hard
I
disease.
see. So it's totally different than the
Right.
powdery mildew or the soft diseases.
Where those would go away, but we stopped it from spreading. Like
And that's
this
the
one will be on
important
tomatoes.
And it spreads very quickly.
Yes, so VFN is what we look at in the tags.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about why, like, does this always come in like towards the end of the season? I mean, why are we seeing it so much now? Like, it's hot out for a lot of us. Humidity, the weather.
where it was grown at. There's
Okay.
a lot of factors. A lot of them come from the coast,
Mhm.
so they have a little bit higher humidity. There's some that comes from other states, but it all depends on that.
Okay.
So humidity plays a part in it, but more to the effect the plants play a part of it. You know, what they're attacking their parent plant stuff.
Okay.
Like that. So we want to look at their family.
Okay.
So anything in the Solanaceae family, which is tomatoes, peppers, and eggplant, this will attack.
Okay. It's pretty
So-
typical then.
Right.
So it doesn't mean that I really blew it this year with my tomatoes. It just,
It's there.
it just happens, right?
It happens, and then we use the complete disease. We can use that or the garden fossey, the ones too, but we stop it from spreading.
Which is important.
Yeah, but
Okay.
we'll still have these spots.
Okay. Now, would you recommend pruning off all of the leaves that are affected with the spots?
No, because they can still photosynthesize.
Okay. So maybe just some of them?
Just some of them.
Okay,
So
or
if there's
the
a lot
most
on one
affected?
of them, right,
Okay.
you can take those off. But if there's a few spots, stuff like that, and they've been treated, we'll still have the spots again because it's a hard disease.
Right.
But we stopped it from moving.
Okay. So is it treated the same way then?
You can use that. And again, use this in the evening time.
Very important.
Garden phosphate with phosphoric acids and potassium, that will work too.
Okay.
But either one.
All right. So if you have this, it will
Yes.
pretty much cover the soft
And I would do
and the hard
3
diseases.
times
Okay.
because you cannot kill the spores.
All right.
So 10 days, 14 days in between the 3 sprains.
And then hopefully by then it'll start to clear up and get better.
Right. Or
Um,
that we stop the spread.
Stop the spread. Okay, very important. Now, another thing that if you guys have watched us for any length of time at all, you know, I always recommend planting a whole new round of things, especially now in July. So that way you're not so devastated when you lose a couple of plants, because it happens.
It
The best, it happens to me all the time. I just took out a plant last night that wasn't doing so well, and luckily I had some new tomatoes already planted in its place. So it's always a good idea, right? To
Right.
avoid.
And we look at the family that they're attacking
Mhm.
too, like the tomato family, Solana family, and we can isolate what not to plant.
much more common in that.
Right.
Okay, let's jump into the chat here, see what questions we have. I love Jennifer mentioning here different products that can help control thrips. Now, this was a big issue. Clayton and I looked at my cucumbers today, and for some reason in the past week with the heat, the
You have
thrips have
thrips.
moved in. So Jennifer's also mentioning the insecticidal soap, the garden insect spray,
The
or the
Spinosad.
horticultural oil.
Right.
Okay, that's
Those
great.
would be the 3. And I like to switch them up every now and then
Oh, good
so we
idea.
don't get any immunity built up.
That's a good idea.
So Spinosad strain lasts the longest because it goes inside the leaf because it's a particle of the bacteria, so it seeps inside
Okay.
in the layers. It may take a little bit for a thrip or an insect to eat it, but they'll find it.
Okay.
But I like to switch every 3rd spraying to another product just to interrupt the
Good
life cycle.
idea. So it might be nice to have a couple of solutions on hand, which, by the way, you can grab them over at Monterey Lawn Garden, lawnandgarden.com. Make sure you use the discount code CaliKim20. You get 20% off, which is a nice little savings. Every
Yes.
little bit counts, right? Okay, let's see what other questions we have. Here's a great one from Catherine, the artist. We're going to be doing a giveaway for some of Catherine's lovely items she provided for us here in just a moment. How you doing, Catherine? Catherine says, I believe I have peach twig borers on the ends of the branches, not the trunk, again this year. Am I too late for Spinosad, or will it work? Anything else? Not a good year for peaches.
No.
What a bummer.
If the twig is still green, the particle can go through. If it's
Okay.
brown, then we can't get into it.
Mm,
So she can cut it off
okay.
or it's attacking, but we just can't get a product inside the layers
If
of
it's
a
brown.
twig. Right.
Okay.
But if it's green,
Okay.
no issue.
So she would go ahead and do the garden insect spray?
Yeah,
on
that
it?
would be the best one, especially if in that case. Yeah, because
Okay.
they take in their gut. Remember, it's not a full bacteria particle,
Ah.
and they stop feeding almost immediately.
Okay, wonderful. So Catherine, hopefully that will help. Let's see here what else we've got. Here we go from Sharon. How you doing, Sharon? A bunch of different bugs and discolored leaves destroyed all of my cucumber and watermelon plants after they grew so beautifully in my raised beds. It's always so disappointing, right? Especially when everything is going so well.
It could be a chewer.
Hard to say, right? Without knowing the
Right.
Okay.
I would look for chew marks, probably most likely since it's in that group. there.
Right.
So you can use Spinosad. You can use take out with it. That's more broad spectrum as far as
The takedown.
The takedown as far as that goes.
Wonderful.
And it doesn't hurt it. So you can spray it again in the evening.
In the evening.
Right.
Remember that. And we do have a video, Sharon, on making sure that you're treating the right pest. And we just posted a couple of weeks ago. So go back and look at that. I believe it's called I can't remember the exact name of it. Just go back and look for our pest control video from a couple of weeks ago, because you have to spray the right pest the right way or it's not going to work.
Right.
So we've covered that in other live streams. So watch the video for some more info on that.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see if we have any. Oh, here's a great question from Trish again. What about blight on tomato leaves?
Okay, so blight is kind of a throwaway word. So you got tomato blights, you got other different blights. It's just telling us that we have an issue.
Okay.
You know,
it's like kind of a general disease, like
right.
People say blight, but it could be
and tobacco mosaic virus.
Okay.
That's almost a blight, and that's a virus, and really you can't do anything like that. That's why when you buy tomatoes or anything in the slam film, look for that VFN.
Oh, that's right. You were telling me about that.
And that protects the plant from verticillium, nematodes, and fusarium.
So that's a really good point, is that when you're looking for tomato plants or purchasing seeds, look for disease-resistant varieties. Correct. Is what that would mean. So there's codes.
Right. Same thing with roses when they get to, fire blight.
Mm-hmm.
They'll tag certain roses that won't be affected by fire blight in the VFN.
So the VFN letters on the tag or on the seed packet would tell you if this is resistant, or you can just look it up and see if you can find some VFN varieties that you might want to plant.
Now, a lot of people have gone back to the old school tomatoes and old school
the old heirlooms and everything.
Right. So they don't have that resistance.
Okay.
You're going to have to be a little bit more taken care of because we hybridize the other ones.
Some of the newer ones.
Right.
Okay. We're going to move on and for just some more questions in just a moment. But before we do, it's time for another giveaway. And this time we're going to give away a personalized CaliKim community water bottle. And this one's really cool because it's only something that you can have available or a win by being here on the live streams in person. So we're going to go ahead and open up the chat for #summer again. And we did have 2 lucky winners last week that were able to receive them. And these are made for us by our very own Catherine the Artist. She has a wonderful company called Tag Your It, based here in Southern California, a small business. She's generously offered to give these to our CaliKim community members. So Catherine, thank you so much. I know, I love it. It's 40 ounces.
Wow.
So when I'm out here in the garden, I don't have to go back in to refill my water bottle. That's one thing I love about it. It's insulated, stainless steel, and it stays cold for hours. So absolutely love it. Of course, the CaliKim red. So we've got 20 entries there in the chat. And we're going to be doing giveaways almost every week on our live stream. So we love to be able to thank our garden community for being here with us, for learning with us, for supporting us, and for also chiming in and offering your expertise and your comments and what's working for you in your garden, because we can all learn from each other.
Well, in different areas, we're going to have different issues.
Yeah.
So it's always talking to your friends and whatnot. Are you having this issue?
Yeah.
Let me show you what to use.
Absolutely. And it's fun to hear from people all over the world here. We have international viewers, people in Hawaii, people all over the US. So it's a wonderful way to
big family.
One big CaliKim community family. That's right. Okay, 29 entries, you all. Wonderful. Thank you so much for entering. So let's go ahead and do our drawing for the personalized water bottle. Go ahead and draw there, Jerry. 3, 2, and 1. And it's really cool because Catherine actually puts these your name on these, and she'll send them out directly to you. So again, email me. This is Linda here as the lucky winner. So Linda, congratulations. I know you're going to enjoy your water bottle. Make sure you email me, CaliKim at CaliKimGardenHome.com. The name you would like on your water bottle and your full name and contact information. We'll get that over to Catherine. She'll get those right out to you. So thank you so much. Really excited for you to get that and to be able to use it. Love Her Beautiful Gardens was able to, she won one last week and they're beautiful. So really glad that you received yours and that you're enjoying it already.
We do have some new houseplant stuff too.
And that's what I want to talk about next.
Yeah.
So Clayton, tell us a little bit more. I know you guys have some new products coming out. Well, actually are out already.
Yes.
Correct?
Yeah, these ones are out.
And these are wonderful. I actually just got, someone gave me a beautiful houseplant, which I don't typically grow houseplants, but I'm definitely going to be using these on my indoor seedlings as well.
Yeah, and we had to rewrite the labels for houseplants.
Okay.
And then because of you and your team, we actually had to redo it again because I wanted fruits and veggies.
Nice. Thank you, Monterey. That's awesome.
Because people are growing more vegetables and fruits inside the house now.
Yes, we
are. Because
are.
of that, we had to make some changes. And
I love that.
Yeah.
I love how you listen to the gardening world out there, the backyard gardeners, and we're able to respond with something that we really need.
And this will work on your houseplants, on your other things growing, and get rid of your powdery, mildew, downy, stuff like that.
So I know, like a lot of our gardener friends, obviously start seeds indoors, and in a few weeks we're going to be starting seeds indoors for fall vegetables.
Correct.
So tell me, how could you use these on your indoor seedlings?
So it's not on the disease control. It's not a curative. I mean, it's not a preventative. It's a curative.
A curative. Okay.
So if we see it, hit it early. And you may have to do 2 or 3 springs because you cannot kill the spores.
Okay.
They're not seeds, totally different.
So I know sometimes on my indoor tomato seedlings, I do get a little bit of powdery mildew on there.
Yeah.
So I can just hit it with this.
In the evening.
In the evening. Well, inside, right?
Yeah, I know.
And that way it's not going to damage your little tiny seedling and
Right.
start off with powdery mildew, which you don't want.
And then we have the bloom. So we just put enough in there to help promote the flowers and the fruits. It's enough to get it going. And again, we changed the label because of here.
Wonderful. So even say in the wintertime, as I know it's hard to think about winter when it's 95, but it is coming. Right. We do a lot of indoor garden. We, teach people how to grow little tiny tomatoes inside. I get tomatoes coming to harvest inside, lots of greens and herbs and things like that. So would this be helpful for in that situation?
It's kind of a kick start.
Okay, nice.
That. Because not all the elements are around, especially inside the house.
Yes.
So this kind of gives it a nice little kick.
Nice. I love that.
Yeah.
So it could help me get more tomatoes this winter inside.
Right.
Perfect.
Besides your toothbrush.
Right. That's right. If I want to hand pollinate.
Yeah.
But it could definitely help my greens and my indoor herbs and things like that. I love how it's just a little spray.
That's it. And we got one more that we're working on now.
Oh, can you tell us yet or no?
No, it's fine. It's just the all-purpose.
Oh, all-purpose fertilizer.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah, that's coming out.
Great.
But it seems to be doing pretty well what we've done. But more and more people are growing inside the house.
Yes.
And this is kind of a kicker starter, and it'll help prevent diseases and other things down the road.
Wonderful.
Give that flower a little push.
Well, it's definitely something I'm going to be using, especially come wintertime. But like I was mentioning to you earlier, I did get my first live indoor house plant. I don't grow a lot of live, just regular plants inside. So I'm really excited to try it out on that.
See, in my office, my lab, I got plants that get diseases so I can test stuff. They don't look so good. And I said, yeah, that's a good thing.
You need to test things out, right? Yeah. I mean, I have lots of seedlings inside, but as far as house plants, I don't always have time to keep up with that.
And that's a lot more work.
Yes. Well, I think we need to do a giveaway for a set of these. Is that okay?
Yeah,
all right. Would you guys like that? So let's go ahead and drop #summer in the chat is a hashtag for today. And these are fairly new. I believe they came out last spring.
Yeah.
Am I right on that?
Yeah.
Wintertime, maybe?
Yeah,
okay. Yeah. But it's definitely something that I know I'm going to be using more of this winter as I'm growing more things to harvest inside. And I hope a lot of you will grow along with us in the wintertime as well. So go ahead and put that #summer in the chat there. And Monterey will be emailing you. We'll be mailing you out this for the person who wins this particular giveaway. And wow, looks like we already have 33 entries. for the new houseplant products. So Jerry, if you want to go ahead and grow, I was just reading your message there on the screen, and draw, we'll send the lucky winner, Monterey will send the lucky winner out a set of the new houseplant products there. So go ahead and draw in 3, 2, and 1, and watch for the confetti. Here we go. Fingers crossed, guys. I know it's always a little bit disconcerting when you see your name go by. It doesn't land on you.
A couple weeks ago.
That's right. And here we have Amy Baba. So congratulations, Amy. I know you're going to love these, and we can't wait for you to get them. And then make sure you let us know what you're using them on and how things worked out for you. So I know you're going to enjoy it. So just email me, CaliKim at CaliKimGardenHome.com. Your full name, address, and make sure you include what you won today, since we are doing so many giveaways today. Okay, let's see, Clayton, before we move on to something else, we'll talk in a minute about what can we expect to see in our gardens this fall for disease. But before we do that, I know we've got a lot of questions scrolling by here from our viewers. So let's see here. Great one to talk about. From Rita. Cucumbers and eggplant have leaf miners. What to use?
Spinosad would be the best.
Spinosad, the garden insect spray with Spinosad.
Because they go inside the leaf, and the particle seeps through the epidermis, because the epidermis is not brick and mortar. And you get the palisade layer, which are cells up and down, that photosynthesis takes place in. But you get this cavernous area.
Yes.
And that particle can seep through everything that sits there. So any chewing insects pick it up.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So I know here in my garden, and you can tell me if I need to add anything else to my arsenal, but I pretty much have the complete disease control, the takedown for the sucking insects, the garden insect spray for the chewing insects. I love Sluggo Plus. That's my go-to every time I plant anything.
It has Spinosad.
Love it. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And then I have these as well, which I'm going to start using on my seedlings indoors as I'm growing more indoor things this winter. Would that kind of cover most issues that we're having?
The one issue is more of the root rots.
I did see a question about that as well. Let's talk about that for a moment.
Different environment.
Okay, so S McGee asked a question. What about zucchini diseases? I'm dealing with root rot. Should we hold this one up?
There's a couple pages.
Okay.
Let me get to the one that might be.
So hopefully we can help you out there.
Wouldn't be that one.
Because that is a little bit different of an animal, correct?
Yes, yeah. So it could either be Pythium.
Okay, let me hold that up here for everybody to see.
So
this is such a wonderful resource.
Yeah, so if you notice, it has streaks and stuff like that. So I look for those things. And the other thing you can do is test the rigidity of your fine root hairs.
Interesting.
So if you pull them and they come right off, then you have a problem.
So the teeny ones that are on the stems, correct?
Right. Okay. Or even in the soil.
Okay, okay.
If they stick, if they're still hard to pull off, then they're okay for the most part.
Ah, interesting. So, but if they're easy to pull off, then you know you have a problem.
Some sort of root rots. Yeah.
Okay. And what do we do? Or did you want to show a different?
So again, if we be proactive instead of reactive,
okay,
we use a complete disease when we
at the beginning, right? The season. Okay.
Right. Sclerotinia.
Any others that
some of the other
common?
ones. Yeah. The other one is Phytophthora and Rhizoctops are two big ones, and there is that one. You can actually see the generations there.
Wow, that's super.
It's one of those hidden things. All of a sudden, you come out, your plants are going, "What the hell is going on?"
Yeah, what the. So, what about when you have it though? Like preventing it is wonderful, right? But what if it's too late for that?
The one thing we do have is garden phos, which is not organic, but it's very close. In fact, even my most organic people in the Bay Area, our world group, who I've known for a year, they recommend it. It's just phosphoric acid, potassium salts, and steroids, and it goes in and burns it out.
I know you recommended that for the magnolia tree. I've done 2 treatments so far.
Yep.
So that would be something that you could do for something that's already has the root issues.
Correct.
Garden phos.
It's our hardest label, but it's there.
Okay, so garden phos maybe to add to your arsenal. So hopefully that helps. Okay, let's see what other questions we have, and you all will have to let us know too next week or over the next several weeks what you're using, if you're seeing any changes or differences in your plants as a result, because it's fun to kind of share stories about what's going on. Okay, here we've got one from Bree. What to use for flea beetles on my tomato plant? Lots of insect questions too here, right?
Open up your soil
You've been saying that to me all day as I've been walking around, right? Aerate with how? Tell us how to do that.
So
it's a simple thing, but
they're actually feeding on the very, very, very fine root hairs. But if we open up the soil, we're going to get air down into the roots. They like it moistured. So I tell people, take a pencil, actually a wooden dowel would be better, and just poke some holes in. You're getting air into that soil. So a perfect soil is 25% air, 25% water, 25% organic matter, 25% inorganic matter. That's what we strive for. But you'll never get there.
In a perfect garden, right?
In a perfect garden.
No one has a perfect garden, me included.
Yeah, but that's what we want. So we got to get air into the root system. And some of these water or root rots are from water molds and stuff like that. Open up the soil.
Okay, and Clayton said that to me as we walked around today because I am guilty of overwatering. I just, it's hot out. So I'm like, okay, we got to water again. I think a lot of us struggle with that. And Clayton said, just open up your soil, poke a dowel down in your soil, let things breathe a little bit.
I teach something called vertical mulching.
Yes, you mentioned that with our magnolia tree as well.
Right. So vertical mulching is the same sort of thing, but we're using a pulse hole digger. We're going to the drip line of the tree, pulling in about a foot, and then put 4 holes around. Because a lot of times people put citrus and fruit trees near lawns. They don't want to be there. So if we put these,
that water,
it's too much. So if we put the 4 holes in, you're allowing air into the system.
And then you fill it with gravel or something to kind of.
That's all you need. It's old school,
just pebble gravel.
It works.
Wow, we may have to end up trying that with magnolia tree too. Do you think?
I'll buy you a postal digger.
Oh, I think we'll get an electric one or a gas powered one. We don't want to do all that much work.
Yeah, just about 4 feet.
Okay.
In fact,
just about 4 feet. That's all. Dig down 4 feet.
That's it. In fact, I was on the phone with somebody while you were doing it and answering her questions on that.
Okay, great. Okay, a couple more questions. Sure. Here's a great question from Myra. Is it better to keep these products inside or can we store them out in a shed without diminishing their effectiveness? Very good question.
Yeah, the question is you want the temperature to be about as balanced as you can. You don't want high heat and you don't want cold because the molecules could denature.
Okay. So during the winter time, if it's going to freeze, you may want to
keep in the house under the sink,
garage or
like
somewhere.
That.
Okay. And when we're getting a 100-degree day, your garden shed can get to be 130 or something.
Take it someplace else.
Okay. Very good question.
But they can denature.
Okay. So they would not be effective if that happens. Okay. Let's talk a little bit about, we've got fall coming up. What change, is there anything particular disease-wise that changes in the fall? Or that we can maybe anticipate?
Yeah, the biggest one.
Dread?
Yeah, the biggest one's fire blight.
Okay, fire blight.
Or I know, it's just words.
And do you happen to have a picture of that we can show people?
I think so.
It would be too difficult. And is that something that is just primarily
a
fall issue?
Sort of.
Okay.
It's fall, winter.
Okay, so that's a great thing too, is hopefully by being aware now what's coming, you could prepare for it a little bit and hopefully help prevent it. Well, if you do, that's okay. So explain to us what that is and what plants does it typically affect?
Yeah, so there's good news, bad news about fire blight. So the good news is it only affects the rose family. The bad news, the rose family is about this.
So it's not just roses.
Huge. No.
It's
Apples, pears, quinces. On the ornamental side, you got you got some of the vines and stuff like that would get it too. There's only a couple of them, but this is where bees are not our friend because they actually move this bacteria from flower to flower, and that bacteria grows downward inside the stem. So out in Utah, I have to go out there every year to talk to people out there because they have so many pears and stuff out there. But you want to catch it when the flowers are open, and depending where you're at, it would be November, December, January, the 3 sprayings, or just January, February, it depends on cold, but you want 3 sprayings. If you do have fire blight, you want to go 12 to 18 inches below the affected flower.
Oh, okay.
And make a cut. And every time you make a cut, dip your shears in a 10% bleach solution. But if you cut it and you still see red in there, make it go down a little bit lower. That's the bacteria.
Okay, so you mean you cut the actual twig out?
Right, because it moves from the twig downward.
And then if you see red,
then go down a little bit further.
down further. Okay,
and
that way you get it all.
Yeah, and every time you make a cut, dip it. Otherwise,
sanitize.
You're the vector.
We don't want that.
No. but it is out there. It will be out there forever, but this will work. So you can use garden floss would be the best one, or liquid cotton, one of those.
Okay.
But we got to catch it in that balloon.
And what does it look like?
It just, the leaves just turn red.
Okay.
And
her umbrella fell over.
And the twigs that the leaves on will also start turning red.
Okay, so look for those red fire blight.
And if
Very
you
important.
do cut it out, get rid of them.
Okay.
A lot of times people leave them on the ground. There's something called splash up. I teach people if rain hits that, and the infected ones, people leave it there. If there's any cracks in the main trunk, it's going to hit that and push the
Oh my
spores out
goodness.
that way.
So you definitely want to dispose of it right away.
But that's probably one of the biggest ones out there, besides a couple other ones.
Okay. So I don't know if any of you have seen fire blight in your yard, in your garden. Let us know in the chat if that's happened to you. And now you know how to deal with it.
And they can always call you or send a note to you, and we'll
Yeah,
get
absolutely. We can forward it on, or you can email Monterey directly, which I think Nisha popped that in the chat a little bit earlier.
Photinias was the other one I just remembered. So
okay, wonderful. Well, we've got a few more questions here before we close out the live stream. We're going to have one more giveaway at the end, so don't leave early. You definitely don't ever want to leave our live streams early here. Here we've got a question from Ramona. How's it going, Ramona? Could the flowers browning have to do with the heat here in North Carolina?
most likely.
Absolutely.
Yeah, send a picture. I
We've
want
got
to see
lots.
it.
Okay.
At that point, I need to look at streaking. I need to look how the flowers are forming. It could be bacteria. It could be, but I need to see it. So send it to you and get off to me. But I need at that point to look at.
Yeah, well, I know we saw a lot of that today wandering around because we've had triple digits here for last week or so. Question from Reek the Beak. When would I use the Monterey horticultural oil over the insect spray or vice versa? Great question.
Yeah, so I like to use one for 3 times and then switch over to the other one time.
Okay.
So you don't get any natural buildup or anything like that.
So really they could start with either one?
Either one.
Okay.
Let's do it 3 times and then use something totally different to interrupt the life cycle of either that fungus or insect.
Okay, great question on that one. You know, I'm going to ask you a question that I've had asked a lot, and that is, what if I have both, like, say, aphids and little cabbage loopers on one plant at the same time? What do I do? Can I use both products at once? What would you recommend?
No, so I would use the chewing one first.
So that would be the garden insect spray first.
Right.
Okay, first.
And then any residual, because you cannot kill the eggs.
Okay.
And then follow up with the oil to suffocate them.
So we would spray with garden insect spray to kill the actual cabbage looper
because it takes time to get inside the leaf. And we don't want to put an oil on it because that could block the particle from moving down.
And so since takedown is an oil, right?
Exactly.
Then I would want to spray like a couple days later. What would you recommend?
Maybe 7 days later.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that way you're covered on
Spinosad
both
going
fronts.
inside, yeah.
Now, if a lot of times what I do, if I just have a few aphids, I'll just spray them off with water and get them off the plant. But then if I see the caterpillars, then I can spray those directly and then wait a little bit for the.
But remember, aphids come back. Yeah, remember the height of aphids or scales or anything like that. They just pump out babies.
It's crazy.
So
yeah, it's nuts.
And you can't kill any eggs. You can't do that.
Yeah.
So just watch it carefully.
Yeah, definitely. Keep a close eye on it. Okay, you know what? One more giveaway, and then we'll have a final word from Clayton before we close out the stream here. But what we're going to do now, and I actually just gave Clayton his today.
I felt bad.
No, you don't need to feel bad. I'm very happy for you to have one. These, again, are made by our very own Catherine the artist. Beautiful. I've been using this one, I think, every single day since she sent them to us.
My wife is going to enjoy it.
Oh, I'm glad she will. We're going to give away another CaliKim cutting board, and these are fantastic, you guys. So make sure you enter now, #summer in the chat, and I'll be mailing this out to you. These are so handy. Catherine has made up some beautiful, well, this one's not personalized, but some beautiful custom branded gifts for our viewing audience here, just here available on our live stream. So we're going to send this out to you. Make sure you put #summer in the chat and then send me your address. we'll get this out to you here, you guys. And make sure you check out Tag Your It website. The link is in the video description. Catherine has some beautiful personalized gifts that are perfect for weddings, for graduations, for Christmas gifts, for just someone who's having a birthday. So go over and check those out on her website, and you can get 20% off with the code CaliKim20 over there as well. So 32 entries. Way to go, guys. I know you're going to enjoy this. Jerry, let's go ahead and draw for it. And we'll come back for a few final words of wisdom from Clayton. All right, here we go. Are you ready, Clayton? Yeah, you've got those words of wisdom. Okay, 3, 2, and 1. Here we go, guys. Who is going to be the lucky winner today of this beautiful custom cutting board? And the winner is Florence. Florence M. Congratulations, Florence. So happy for you. I know you're going to enjoy using this in your kitchen. We also really like using out here. Like I made some garden fresh pizza and just served it on this. Brought it outside, cut it all on here, and it's a beautiful little serving platter. Yeah. Maybe we can make some after this.
There you go.
Okay, great. Make sure you send me your address, Florence, CaliKim at CaliKimGardenHome.com, and I'll get that sent out to you. Clayton, we don't even have time to get to all the questions. So I know that I really appreciate the generosity of you and your team at Monterey to answer our viewers' questions. It's so helpful.
And just tell people, be proactive. Enjoy your garden.
I was just going to ask you your final words of wisdom. Would that be?
Sorry.
No, that's okay. No, go ahead. Tell us.
So be proactive. If you see something coming on, start as early as you can. If you see, the better, the earlier, the better for the plant. But the other thing is enjoy life.
I love that.
Yeah.
And things are going to happen, right?
Yeah.
It's okay.
Exactly.
It's okay, but be as proactive as you can. Grab some of the Monterey products to help you in that process, and just go out and enjoy your garden. Plant something new this week. Harvest it. Enjoy the fruits of your labors. I know a lot of you are harvesting all kinds of things here towards the end of July. Can you believe it's almost the end of July?
I know.
Oh my gosh, where did the summer go? Pretty soon it'll be time for fall planting. So stay tuned. We actually will be having some fall videos, believe it or not, in the next few weeks. And I want to give you guys, I think I'm going to tell you a little bit of something I'm working on for fall. That'll be a brand new something that you can download, especially to help you walk through your fall garden step by step. So be looking for that straight from our garden to yours. It'll be coming up real soon, a brand new product that we've never had out there before. Clayton, I want to thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, as always.
And thank you to the Monterey team for being in the chat. And of course, our moderators, Nisha, and our post moderator, Cliff, who's actually here on summer break from his job with the school district. Really appreciate you all being here as well. And our next live stream, I forgot to write the date down, but it is in the video description. The 2nd and 4th Mondays of each month will be live streaming. So look for that schedule in the video description. Mark your calendar. It's all there, so you can mark your calendars throughout the rest of 2026. And we'll see you back here in a couple of weeks. And make sure you check out our gardening videos in between.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
You are very welcome, Clayton. Always a pleasure.
Yes.
And we'll see you all a little bit later in a couple of weeks. Enjoy your garden. Bye-bye.